What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Palantir. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's causing a lot of volatility and if it's justified or not. Before we get into any of that, make sure you hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, Palantir is down 4.3%. 2.6 million shares have been traded. 40.2 is the average. So today is going to be a fairly heavy volume day. There has been no actual news itself associated to Palantir today. Last news came out yesterday, which mind you was pretty kick-ass. So Starlab Space announced a strategic partnership with Palantir Technologies. So that gave Palantir a nice bump up yesterday. But of course, the broader market started to pull back quite considerably because of the S&P hitting that 5,500 mark. So that started to spook some individuals on whether it's justified or not. So Palantir kind of had good news, but regrettably did get dragged down with the broader market. And I did say this in my last video that right now Palantir is considered overbought. So the first sign of weakness, whether it be specific to Palantir or the broader market, you were going to see a pullback. So that's what caused a lot of volatility yesterday. And then lo and behold, today you do have a analyst rating. So when it comes down to analyst ratings, there was one done 4 days ago. So that's kind of what kickstarted a lot of the FOMO with Palantir. So there was Joseph, who is with Argus, and they do have a 62% success rating, gave a buy $29 price target. And of course, that's a new rating, initiated coverage. So again, that's what really kickstarted some FOMO with Palantir, and then that news yesterday and just the broader market kind of took it higher. Aside from that, today you do have a downgrade sell rating, $20 price target. 𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗛, if I'm saying that right. I feel like I'm butchering it, but Brian, 69% success rating. So he kind of did cite that I think just the valuation in the sector isn't necessarily the best. And that's one thing I've stated in the past couple of videos is just a lot of analysts are on massive different spectrums. You have a $9 price target and then a $35 price target. People just do not know how to appropriately evaluate like Palantir, and it's kind of the unfortunate truth, and most likely will continue in the foreseeable future, because as of right now, even all of this combined, $22.55 is the average, and that does represent a 7.77% downside. But nonetheless, this is what is really affecting Palantir, as well as kind of just affecting its technicals a little bit. But aside from that, I'll give you a quick overview of some of the other current data points, starting off with shorts. Right now, they are returning around 56,000 shares. 3.81% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 73.32 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 4.66, and then cost to borrow average is 0.61. As I've said in the past, I like to bring this up as more of a benchmark rather than anything. And obviously, by shorts returning some shares when there is a lot of shares available, so there's more than or in excess of 10 million, they would be doubling down if they did feel that today was justified. And plus, on a side note, like I said, it's very cheap to borrow shares associated to Palantir. So I think right now it is somewhat of an overreaction linked to mostly its technicals, because in the past, Palantir has received some fairly bad ratings, and it hasn't really caused this to happen. So in my opinion, I think it is very much linked more so to do with the technicals rather than anything. Starting off, even though market just opened, 6.12 million in calls, 2.21 million in puts. Sentiment-wise, 44% of all the options being done so far are bearish. And right now, just looking at some of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be around $25. And so, of course, that's kind of pulled back quite a lot from the optimism associated to the last several trading days. Looking at puts, you do see a consensus for it to be sub $24.50 by this Friday. So it looks like people are anticipating no value run or kind of moving up in the stock price as of right now. These are all the transactions that have occurred so far on the secondary market above $100,000. But unfortunately, majority of the transactions being done today are sells, and you can tell that based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. Moving on from here with it right now at 24.07, it is trading between this pivot and this R1. So 22.51 is going to be the next strong support, and then 24.37 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So I could definitely see it kind of pushing back into this R1 to this R2, but we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, just right now it is still somewhat bullish overall because it is higher percentile of the Bollinger Band. You do see on stochastic, it is still considered overbought. So this is where you could see a continuation of a pullback, more consolidation in the next several trading days. Number of retail investors have been selling ever since it looks like the 18th. So the day prior to this crazy news. And I think a lot of people just generally knew that a lot of this was hype. So maybe they were kind of selling associated to that. And when it comes down to it, like I said, even though there is a pullback occurring right now, just the broader technicals are looking somewhat optimistic. So going back to IBKR over to the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have a pivot point right now of $20.20. So for as long as Palantir is above this point right here, then it is anticipated to get to kind of the $29 range, all the way up to 33. Obviously, that's factoring in a lot of volatility and everything else. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think that this is realistic or not? What's your viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing, if you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, all to be free, such as this, analyst ratings, forecasts for upcoming earnings, and so much more, take a look at Interactive Brokers. Link in the description below and also the comments, like I said, for all of it to be completely free. With all that said, though, appreciate all of you watching.